bitch.
Hey, Britney, what happened?
Britney's performance at the VMAs was supposed to be her big comeback, and she really blew it. It was so disappointing.
She was like a zombie out there, just going through the motions.
And we're like, hey, Britney, you're like 10 years into your career. This should not be happening.
It's so hard to remember at this point that not that long ago, Britney Spears was on top of the world.
Forget the 2007 VMAs. Ever since she split from K-Fed in late 2006, her life has been one crazy day after another. Sometimes goofy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And other times just plain bizarre.
Her fans thought that maybe the old Britney was coming back, but unfortunately, the worst was yet to come.
We've got the whole wild story of Britney's last 12 months. From reinvention to rehab.
All my management, they totally knew what they were doing when they sent me to rehab. Like, totally.
From losing her underpants.
Oh, gosh.
It would be shocking to see it once, or she slipped up. But then it happens 2 days later.
To losing her cool.
Have you ever tried Weight Watchers? It's fat.
Get ready. This is All Access, Britney's most shocking year ever.
What's up, man?
Out of control!
Britney's performance at the 2007 VMAs shocked the world.
When she took to the stage and I saw her dancing, what she was wearing, the lack of energy she had in the performance, I was stunned.
I was like, oh my God, the lip syncing was off. I thought there was something wrong with my television.
There's a lot of talk that she broke her heel. That's why she wasn't able to dance so well.
There's other sources that say that she heard Sarah Silverman's act before she actually went on and was really upset that Sarah Silverman referred to her kids as mistakes.
Most people just speculated that she spent way too much time partying in Vegas instead of practicing.
But anyone watching Britney over the last 12 months should have seen this coming.
Like, totally.
It all started back in late 2006, when after 2 kids and 2 years of tumultuous marriage to Kevin Federline, Britney Spears took control of her roller coaster life by filing for divorce.
Looking good, Brit.
When Britney Spears got together with K-Fed, people started to notice that she was dressing differently, she was acting differently.
Her fans felt that Kevin was dead weight throughout the entire marriage, and Britney was finally free of him to become the star she once was.
How do you feel, Britney?
This was really her time. She had been stuck in that house taking care of the 2 kids while Kevin was out.
She had a new haircut, she looked a lot more sophisticated than normal, and people thought this is the Britney that everyone has been waiting to see.
Britney quickly embraced her newfound freedom and a new party-hungry friend, Paris Hilton.
When people saw Britney hanging out with her, it was sort of like, this is not the direction that we were hoping you would go in.
Within a few weeks, the new party patrol was making headlines from LA to Vegas. Thanks to new BFFs like Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, wow.
And some shocking behavior.
They were out at clubs until all hours of the morning. They were doing the wildest and craziest things. They were dancing on tables.
At one club in Vegas, they were having so much fun that Britney ended up taking off her pants. Kick it! And just dancing around the club in her fishnet stockings.
There are pictures of Britney actually sitting at one of the tables. She had her pants tied around her neck like a scarf. Who does that?
After a night of partying at Club Hyde in LA with Paris, Brit decided to show the world a new side.
Oh gosh.
Her vagina side.
It was sort of the first moment that everyone was like, what's happening with Britney Spears? She had never really been that crazy party girl.
For Britney, being as young as she was, having her entire life very carefully controlled, this sort of behavior was a way of finally being in control of herself.
It would be shocking to see it once, or she slipped up. She's kind of a sweet Southern girl, but then it happens 2 days later.
Within a single week, Brit flashed a total of 3 times.
Probably the most famous picture of Britney's goodies was taken while she was exiting Paris's McLaren. Not only were her privates showing, but even her cesarean scars were visible.
Those photos went all over the world. And people were saying, look, you've got kids at home. Why are you out with Paris Hilton, humiliating yourself like that by not wearing underwear? That was really a point where the tide turned against Britney.
In early December, Britney got a visit from the LA Department of Children and Family Services.
Britney has had kind of a weird history with the kids and child services. It all kind of goes back to this incident when she was seen driving with Sean Preston on her lap. She's apologized for that. Then there were these other incidents where the nanny was watching Sean Preston and he fell from his high chair and hit his head and ended up having to go to the doctor.
So to see Britney going out and partying this much in light of those previous instances sort of raised a red flag for Child Protective Services.
Thanks, Britney.
They came, they visited her, and everything seemed to be in good condition.
Britney turned to her own website to try and clear the air. Her heartfelt letter of apology and quote of a new year, new music, and a new me seemed to resonate with fans.
We love you!
At least for a little while.
Britney acknowledged that her ways were a little bit crazy in those few months after her split from Kevin. So that was really a great message to her fans who were like, okay, Britney is gonna come back, she has not gone away, and she hasn't lost it completely.
Hi, Britney!
Despite it all, the new year brought an old set of problems for Britney.
In order to ring in 2007, Britney decided to host a party at Pure in Las Vegas. She was reportedly paid $300,000, and while dancing to her song, I'm a Slave for You, she fell into a dead faint.
I'm a slave.
Britney Spears just, does a tree log straight down onto her head. It was kind of shocking for everyone, but 12:45, she is out cold. Her bodyguards carry her out.
Her manager, Larry Rudolph, went into damage control mode and started to say, no, she didn't pass out. She was actually just catching some Z's.
Things seemed to just get strange from there.
What's up, Britney?
In February, while most of her peers were attending the Grammys, Britney was at Club One, a strip club in New York City, putting on a show of her own.
So all of a sudden, there are these pictures that come out of Britney stripping down to her underwear, putting on some of their clothes and posing, and she's kind of like showing her butt, and she's wearing just a thong.
This is another night where Britney Spears manages to party so hard. She's terribly exhausted from stripping, and she passes out in stripper's bikini in strip club and gets carried out once again by her bodyguards.
The stripping incident was the last straw. Just 3 days later, Brit succumbed to mounting family pressure and reluctantly checked herself into rehab.
Hello.
Everyone, including Britney's fans, were relieved when she checked into the Crossroads Rehab Center on the island of Antigua.
Well, didn't last very long. Britney, after just one day, checked herself out of that rehab center and headed back for the States.
Britney checked out of rehab so fast because she didn't want to check in the first place. She didn't think there was any reason for her to be in rehab. She was going to lead her life the way she wanted to.
Everyone was wondering, what's her next move going to be? Well, what she did, no one could have predicted.
Coming up, the haircut that shocked the world.
The photos of Britney cutting all of her hair off are some of the most disturbing photos I've ever seen of a celebrity.
Plus, Britney tries to come back, but comes up short.
This was Britney's big chance to come back in the spotlight as a performer, and she really blew it.
Next on All Access, Britney's most shocking year ever.
This.
In mid-February 2007, Britney seemed to have put her breakup, late-night partying, and vajayjay flashing in the past when she checked into rehab. But she checked herself out one day later.
Back up, please. Back up, please. Back up, please. Back up, please.
One of the first things Britney did when she got back to LA from Antigua was go to Esther's, which was a very small hair salon in the San Fernando Valley.
She was complaining that her hair extensions were too tight, and she asked the woman to cut them off.
When Esther said no, Britney grabbed the razor herself and proceeded to shave her entire head totally bald.
I mean, the photos of Britney cutting all of her hair off are some of the most disturbing photos I've ever seen of a celebrity. They absolutely show Britney in the middle of a mini meltdown.
Britney, why do you touch your hair like that?
Yourself. Just 4 days after Britney's bizarre makeover, she checked into rehab for a second time.
At this point then, Britney checks herself into Promises Rehab Center in LA.
Britney had another revolving door rehab stay. She stayed only one night because she said she didn't want to be away from her young children.
They tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no.
One of the first things Britney wanted to do was to go and see her kids. So she goes to Kevin Federline's home, but Kevin didn't want to see her and in fact wouldn't even let Britney in his own house.
So she got very angry. So when she saw this photographer drive up, she took an umbrella and she started smashing his car.
Don't, guys, please, please, guys, don't do this.
She was hitting it so hard that she left these big dents in it.
Now, had she not had her head shaved, the photos probably still would have been kind of weird, but the fact that you're seeing a bald Britney Spears attacking a car with an umbrella will probably go down in the history of celebrity behavior as one of the most bizarre instances of all time.
The next day, Federline decided it was time to give Britney an ultimatum.
Kevin said to Britney, okay, if you don't go to rehab again, I'm going to fight really hard to get full custody of Jaden and Sean Preston. Britney decides, all right, I'll go back again. She goes to Promises and she stays there for 27 days.
During this time, people started to wonder if part of her problems were actually stemming from postpartum depression, and she was even seen carrying around Brooke Shields' book about postpartum. So at that point, people were willing to kind of throw her a bone and be like, okay, Britney, get yourself well and just make sure you're healthy.
At first, the full 27 days in the rehab facility seemed to have put Britt back on track.
You know me.
Yeah.
There definitely was about a month where everyone felt that once Britney came out of rehab, she was a bit of a different person.
Britney started to focus on her career again. She was taking dance lessons again. She started shooting a music video.
She attended both Lakers games and AA meetings. She hired a trainer and began looking more slim and muscular.
And everyone felt once again she's on the road to her comeback.
Once Britt got out of rehab, the paparazzi followed her every move. Whether she was being sweet,
What's your name?
I'm Greg.
You're cute.
sarcastic,
Oh my God.
or just angry.
Hey, baby, when are you gonna get on a diet? Have you ever tried Weight Watchers? She's fat.
She screams at them, she calls them names. But on the other hand, when she wants something covered, it certainly appears that she's calling up the paparazzi herself.
My management totally knew what they were doing when they sent me to rehab. So right.
Britney can't go anywhere without photographers following her.
She's very upset when she sees them, and if they're getting in between her and her kid, she's not being nice.
You've got to stop using the cameras and following people.
Back up. Get out of here, guys.
Stop.
Back out of here.
One thing was becoming clear. The increased attention was not helping her public image.
By this point, everyone's perceptions of Britney were sort of set. There was no erasing the behavior of the past 4 months. People felt that Britney needed more help than she was getting.
I love you guys.
Love you too, Britney. Thank you.
Coming up, Britney serves her mom with legal papers, Hollywood style.
Britney invited the paparazzi to come along with her. It was sort of a big slap in the face to her mom, and Britney wanted the world to know.
Plus, Britt goes for a dip in her undies. Next on All Access, Britney's most shocking year ever. By the summer of 2007, Britney's shocking behavior had opened up a huge rift within the Spears family, and her once rock-solid relationship with mom Lynn was now in tatters.
Throughout her entire life, Britney has been so close to her mom. They even wrote a book together about the relationship between mothers and daughters.
But once Britney's sort of downward spiral began, Lynn Spears and Britney really were at odds.
Britney felt that Lynn was siding with Kevin and that the two of them were working together to keep the children away from Britney.
The bad blood between mom and daughter reportedly reached a boiling point in mid-June and turned physical.
The reported slapfest happened when Lynn went over to Britney's and demanded to take her grandkids for the day.
Britney wouldn't let her see the kids, and Lynn left completely distraught, completely shaken, and that kicked off the really bitter battle that the two of them had.
Britney's resentment soon became a matter of public record. On June 25th, she drove down to the set of her little sister's show Zoe 101 and made a big show of handing a shocking letter to her mother.
When Britney handed her mother this letter, her mother looked sort of stunned and uncomfortable and confused.
Britney invited the paparazzi to come along with her. It was sort of a big slap in the face to her mom, and Britney wanted the world to know.
How are things with Britney? Did you guys reconcile yet?
Those papers reportedly said that if Lynn was on any kind of medication that would make her impaired, she couldn't be around Britney's kids.
So how's your mom? You think everything's gonna be okay with her?
I'm praying for her right now. I hope she gets all the help she needs.
You know what Britney's doing with her mom? She is battling for control. Her mom being around her kids and being friends with Kevin feels like the ultimate betrayal to Britney.
A couple weeks later, Britney's battle for control took another surprising turn. In mid-July, Britney decided it would be a good idea to jump into the ocean with nothing but her bra, panties, and the paparazzi.
Britney and her assistant were driving through Malibu. They pulled over to the side of the road and Britney took off her dress. She did this with photographers trailing right behind her.
It's kind of a sad, but it's also hilarious Britney style. You know, I'm going to take off all of my clothes except for my skimpy underwear and my bra, and I'm going to take a dip. That's where you kind of realize there really is no stopping this like kind of crazy train.
Hi, Britney, how you doing?
In a desperate attempt at damage control, Britney contacted OK Magazine and arranged an exclusive interview.
Everything seemed to be going normally on the day. She arrived about 45 minutes late, but then things started becoming increasingly erratic.
She was accused of rubbing grease from fried chicken on the couture dresses, which were worth thousands of dollars.
And then at another point, her dog pooped on a $6,700 Zac Posen gown.
And then after only a few test shots were taken, she refused to go through with it and stormed out.
And then at the end of the shoot, an awful lot of stuff went missing.
A week later, Britney packed her bags, grabbed the kids, and jetted off for some R&R in Las Vegas, reportedly violating the terms of her custody agreement with K-Fed.
Her and K-Fed have this agreement. The kids cannot leave the state unless there's authorization from the other parent.
It's another example of how she's not fully engaging reality and living up to her obligations.
K-Fed had had enough and, through his attorney, ordered her back to L.A. Britt left Vegas, but not without a fight.
She was trying to leave the hotel with her two kids. The one bodyguard was holding Jaden, one was holding Sean Preston, and she was trying to just get out of there as soon as she could.
The bodyguard checked an intrusive paparazzi. The guy ended up on the floor, and Sean Preston was jostled.
She reportedly freaked out and started screaming at the photographer and saying she was going to have him killed.
What's going on, Britney? You're starting to scare me.
Britt's divorce was finalized on July 30th, but her child custody battle was just heating up, and the timing couldn't have been worse for Britney. First came a tabloid scandal about her topless romp in a pool with a random guy, then news reports surfaced of wild lesbian trysts.
Hi, Britney.
Britney just keeps sinking and sinking, and now people aren't only concerned for her, but they think she's bringing her children down with her.
There are reports that all this soda and junk food is rotting the kids' teeth, and there are reports that Britney took Sean Preston to the dentist to try to get his teeth whitened, but the dentist said no.
Things had gotten so bad for Britney that people were actually taking Kevin's side in the custody battle.
When Britney and Kevin split up, everyone was saying, finally, Kevin's out of these kids' lives. Cut to 6 months later, and everyone is praying that Kevin gets custody of these kids.
Although Britney's taking a lot of heat for her partying ways, for her parenting skills, Kevin Federline is no angel himself. In fact, at the beginning of their relationship, it was Kevin who was always perceived as the bad parent, not Britney.
As Kevin battles for the kids, we're hearing all these negative allegations against Britney, and sometimes you wonder, are details getting leaked as part of a smear campaign?
The big concern now is not only, what's going to happen to these kids, but because Britney is acting so erratically and it's affecting her children, how is it affecting her? She needs to get her life in order immediately before this becomes another tragic Hollywood tale.
This is All Access, Britney's most shocking year ever. For the latest on Britney Spears, log on to VH1.com.
I don't pray.
After 12 crazy months of weird behavior, Britney's shocking year came to a head at the 2007 VMAs, where she kicked off the show. It was supposed to be her long-awaited comeback.
This is Britney's big chance to come back in the spotlight as a performer and to really distance herself from all the tabloid headlines, and she really blew it.
I do think that people still want Britney to be successful. I think that the MTV Awards was a big disappointment, but at the same time, it's just setting her up for a bigger comeback if she chooses to do better.
All the ingredients are there for Britney to make a comeback. She has the great family behind her, she has the money, she has all the resources. So it's all a matter of just breaking through that shell and her realizing that she can be the old Britney that we know and love again.
We love you, Britney.
I love you too.
Welcome to What Perez Says.